What if I told you that geometry is not boring? Only our textbooks are. Geometry develops powerful skills, spatial mapping, pattern recognition, and visual reasoning. Yet, in school, it ends up being one of the most feared topics. In The Mathematician's Lament, mathematician Paul Locard argues that school geometry is taught in a way that kills curiosity, reduced to memorizing definitions and reproducing theorems. But here's something that is rarely discussed. More than 2500 years ago, ancient Indians used geometry not as a theory but as a practical hands on tool. They measured space, they built shapes, and they solved real problems. Unbelievable, right? Let me take you back in time, not to a textbook or a classroom, but to ancient India in 800 BCE. Vedic ceremonies were at the heart of life in India in those times, and at the center of these rituals was the fire altar or Agni Kund. Now, the altar had to be of a symbolic shape like a falcon, tortoise, wheel, and the dimension had to be exact. Now, here was a challenge. The altar could be made bigger or smaller, but the shape should never change. A single error in construction meant the ritual actually failed. So, 3000 years ago, ancient Indians faced an acute problem. How do you measure space without protractor, compass, and calculators? Their answer was simple. The word sulba means rope or string in Sanskrit. So strings and cords were used to measure, align, and construct the altars. The geometric knowledge gathered in this process was collected in the Sulba Sutras. Another name for this is Rajuganit, which is mathematics of the cord. So geometry was not developed on paper, it was stretched on the grounds. Now the Sulba Sutras were actually manuals which was used by craftsmen and technicians who work with fire, earth and bricks. Tracing the exact origin of geometry in India is not easy. Although the Sulba Sutra was codified around 800 BC, the information or the knowledge come from much earlier period. The oldest surviving textbook on applied geometry in the whole world is in Sulba Sutras. Now, these texts were written in concise verses format so that it was easy to understand and transmit. They capture methods to measure space, understand proportion, showing a deep understanding of spatial relationship. And one man is responsible for this codified geometric manual, Bodhayana. Bodhayana was not a mathematician in the traditional sense. Though we do not know much about him, textbooks date him to 800 BC. He was a Vedic priest, a teacher of law, discipline, and rituals. But the writing reveals something deeper. He was a skilled craftsman. Three of the most important Sulba Sutras were composed by Bodhayana in around 800 BCE, Apastamba in around 600 BCE and Katyayana in 200 BCE. Bodhayana was the author of the Bodhayana Sutras, a vast collection of knowledge that included dharma, rules of life, ethics and duty, rituals, which is precise instructions for ceremonies, and surprisingly, geometry. In ancient India, mathematics was not a separate isolated subject. It wasn't pursued to publish papers or to establish individual brilliance. In fact, it was used to solve practical, real-life problems. And it is in this ritual text, the Bodhayana Sulba Sutra, that we find the mention of what the modern world called as the Pythagoras theorem, centuries before Pythagoras was even born. In Bodhayana Sulba Sutra, one verse says, Dirgha Chaturasya Shanaya Raju Parshav Mani Triyag Mani Chayat Prithak Bhute Kurutastubhyam Karoti. The square on the diagonal produces the same area as the squares on the two sides. In simple terms, square on the diagonal is equal to sum of the squares on the sides. This is the same relationship we learn today as the Pythagorean theorem. But in Sulba Sutra, it appears not as an abstract formula, but as geometry meant for construction, for laying bricks and building altars. The Sulba Sutras go far beyond just one theorem. The brilliance of Sulba Sutra is not about what they state, but how they teach. Take something very simple. You would have remembered the sum of the odd numbers is given by the number of terms, which is n square. So instead of finding the sum of odd numbers and remembering it as a formula, the Sulba Sutra shows it visually. 1 square is 1, add 3 more, you get 4, a perfect square. Add 5, you get 9. In this way, the students could see that the sum of consecutive odd numbers forms perfect square. When priests needed larger altars, they needed to find the value of square root of 2. The Bodhyayana Sulba Sutra gives a practical route to find square root of 2. Take 1, add 1/3 of it, then 1/4 of that, and subtract 1/34 of the result. When calculated, this equals 1.4142156, accurate to 5 decimal places. The way they came to this formula using ropes is simply phenomenal, which was deduced using geometry by rearranging the squares. Even ideas like area of a triangle need not be memorized as half base into height. Just draw a rectangle around the triangle and the relationship becomes obvious. Understanding replaced memory. Many rituals required altars of different shapes but equal area. To solve this, Sulba Sutras developed methods to transform one shape into another without changing the area. And in doing so, the ancient Indians in fact cover the entire foundation of geometry almost 2500 years ago in a way that was visual, intuitive, and easy to remember. Now, this brings us to a larger question. When geometry was taught in such an interesting way, why did we stop? Today, our school follows Euclidean geometry, a geometry box filled with instruments like compass, protractors, which students find hardly meaningful anymore. So, geometry has been reduced to an abstract world of points and straight lines. But in real life, you don't find straight lines or flawless circle. And here's the irony. When we talk about experiential learning, we rarely ask, why don't students measure? Why don't students experiment, tinker, the way geometry was actually designed? Now imagine this instead. Children learning geometry with ropes in the playground, walking distances to grasp proportion, measuring shadows to understand angles, building shapes instead of drawing them. Now that's not ancient thinking. That's deep learning. As an educator, I feel deeply saddened with the way we ask students to memorize and remember steps instead of grasping the larger idea. Vedic mathematics doesn't ask us to reject the modern mathematics. It asks us to reconnect with how learning truly happens through curiosity, touch, and experience. I had loved to hear your thoughts. What do you think? Should geometry be taught differently? Let's ensure that we start this conversation about how to make learning alive, joyful, and more meaningful. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care.